All right, I'm back. Oh my gosh. So, if anybody's out there, please let me know that you can hear me. I had to restart my computer, and I think that resolved the problem. So, anyway, thank you for being here, whether you're here live or you're watching the replay. My name is Lisa Espinosa, and this is a weekly free offering, weekly priestess transmission, where we gather together and remember our sacred mission, right? And remember why we are here. Remember that this is all about aligning with unconditional love, our divine birthright. And so the focus of all of the work that I do is to help others connect with their soul's guidance and share their unique medicine through their career. Now, as I'm birthing my second book, Priestess Rise Up, I'm focusing on that noble sacred mission of the priestess path. Whether you use that word or not, that doesn't matter, although I invite you to try it on. And which is all about channeling healing to the world through unconditional love. Yes, thank you, Maureen. And leading through unconditional love. It is both one of the hardest things and simplest things. Simple because it is our natural state, actually. We are unconditionally loving beings, but we come into this earth world with an ego, and we start to take on burdens and programming and wounds and trauma and all sorts of things that bury that unconditional love that is within us. And so when we're on the spiritual path, all of the great traditions, spiritual traditions, are about that, just like clearing, taking off the layers of what isn't true. And what's left behind is love. And so that's what I mean by the simplicity of it. It isn't that we need to learn how to be unconditionally loving, or that we have to take training or any of that. What we actually have to do is let go of everything else, is step out of the way. And so that's what these offerings are about, are to remind us of that and to practice together, right? To practice together how to do that. And so when I started the first transmission a few minutes ago, that I had to stop because of the sound issues, I was sharing a little bit about the Lionsgate ceremony that I did yesterday, that I facilitated. And during part of it, there was a moment where I saw this image, through my mind's eye. I was shown this image of a to-do list, right? And it was connected to whatever your sacred mission is. Your career, your business, your creative work, volunteer work, whatever way you are of service. And it was like this list, and it was showing just all these things to do. But they were showing me, the universe, the divine was showing me that as we keep moving forward on this priestess path, there's going to be so much asked of you, of us. And I don't mean that from a scary way or from any sort of martyr way, but the truth being that the divine source, God, universe, has big plans for you, right? You've already shared so much of your medicine with the world. And as you look around, you know that the world is still in need. And as we co-create a new earth together, there is a lot that is asked of us. A lot of courage, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of expanding past your comfort zone, a lot of perhaps, other people judging you or thinking you're weird or odd or not understanding your choices. All of that, it's part of the journey. And because so much is asked of us, there's so much grace, so many miracles, so much support also bestowed on us. And one of those is that of, what I'm calling soulful efficiency, meaning that there will be times where in the old way would require you to take all sorts of steps to get something done. But now it's going to be about slowing down, tuning in, letting go, letting your soul, letting the ascended masters, letting your guardian angels, letting the divine do the heavy lifting. And yet we resist that so much because our ego and those parts of us that have had to fight so strongly, that had to, they've had to be warriors, they've had to be in survival mode in the past. They don't understand that. They're still trying to control. And so that's part of the courage that this takes, to step back and just be like, okay, I'll take the steps that you're asking me to take. So as I was sharing before with the Lionsgate ceremony, I got a divine download about that just a few days, maybe a week at most, a few days before I left to New Mexico. I wasn't planning on teaching another class. In a lot of logical ways, it made no sense to schedule the class when I was about to go on vacation, to schedule it for when I came back. It wasn't coming from my ego. It wasn't coming from like an overdoer part. It was coming from my soul. I could feel that. And so because I've been practicing this for a long time now, I trust it, and I scheduled it, put it on the calendar, but also knew I'm going to New Mexico, and I know when I'm there, I'm not going to be sitting down planning a class. But I knew, because I've experienced this many times, that when I get a divine download like that, I'm going to drink some water. I will be shown what steps I need to take, what steps are mine to take. And so I had to, the graphic was created, I scheduled it, I send that out on my newsletter. Those were things I had to do. And then I was shown, and then just let it go. Enjoy being in New Mexico. So what happened when I was in New Mexico, right? A lot of things happened, but one of the things that you might have read about on my social media was I was able to visit the oldest shrine to Our Lady of Guadalupe in the United States, in Santa Fe. And so it was such a beautiful experience. And when I was there, I got a lot of things, a lot of wonderful things, and a lot of downloads about the Lionsgate ceremony. And so that happened naturally. It wasn't that I was like, okay, Guadalupe, tell me what I'm supposed to teach in the class. I was present in the moment. I had let that go. And the guidance came. I taught the ceremony yesterday, which was beautiful. So that's just a little microcosm example of what I mean, what our soul is going to be asking from us. Because the ego loves to focus and obsess about the how. But how. You might get a divine download to write a book, or to start a class, or to start coaching, or to write a blog, or to even something as simple to post on social media. When it comes from your soul, you get an influx of light. But what happens often, well, it always happens, but we learn to be within in a better way each time. Our ego responds and it contracts. Oh, there's more like, right? Because the ego wants to keep us in linear time. It wants to keep us looking outside of ourselves for answers. It wants to keep us in that that programming that we are separate from our source. So that's one of the reasons the spiritual journey, particularly when you're combining it with your service and your career, can be so scary, because you're basically saying, all right, divine, lead the way. So then your source gives you an idea, a divine assignment that is absolutely going to up-level you, that is going to bless you, that is going to bless others, that is going to purge fear out of you. And of course, that freaks out the ego. So there's that contraction that happens. And the key is to normalize that, not judge yourself for it, not believe it. Oh, I have fear. That means I must not be, it must mean I'm not ready. It must mean that I'm not supposed to do this. Like, no, all it means is like, oh, my egoic structure is responding to the influx of light. That's normal. That's what happens. That's what it does. It's scared. That's what it does. That's how it was designed. It's doing what it was designed to do. But we are not an ego. We are divine beings having a human experience. And so we want to keep practicing, having the discipline, and your soul knows you. So your soul will lead you step by little step, by little step, by little step. And sometimes the steps will seem really big because your soul knows you're ready. And we trust you. You take the step, you feel the fear perhaps, and you move forward anyway. And the ascended masters, your soul, and perhaps teachers on the earth plane, coaches, spiritual teachers, therapists, healers, those are all allies on your journey to help you through this. And so I want to, as we step into our meditation for today, I wanted to step into that place of soulful efficiency, to have your soul show you what to-do list is she ripping up, right? And saying, hey, we're going to step into this quantum way of doing this. And of course, remembering your soul is never judging you. Your soul's never disappointed in you. You always have free will. And, that's important to remember. And so we're going to step into that ceremonial space together. And so I invite us, sorry, I'm adjusting the camera, to take a few cleansing breaths. And just let yourself settle into your heart, settle into this moment, settle into the earth. And I invite you to be in a receptive place. Be in that place of allowing, receiving, welcoming. Allowing, receiving, welcoming. And you might have to actually tell yourself that. If you're someone that has been really, for various reasons in your life, used to being the one who's always doing or figuring things out, or if you've been very passive, there's no judgment either way. Perhaps you have been hesitant to take any action. So you've had a lot of passivity. That's different than receptivity. So we're stepping into a place of receiving. Like, picture a beautiful flower, a sunflower, that is just opens bright to receive the sunlight, to receive the rain, to receive the bees that are pollinating it. That's the receptivity. It's not a passive. It's not like, just whatever happens. No, there's an active component even to the receptivity. So let's all be like those beautiful sunflowers. We're just open and receiving. And so in this place of receptivity, your heart is the biggest sunflower there is. This beautiful sunflower open. And in that space before you, we see this garden, this beautiful sunflower field of sunflowers. This field of sunflowers, the sky is bright blue. There's some beautiful butterflies and little bees that, flying around that field of sunflowers that's in front of you. And as we stand here, you stand here looking at the sunflowers, feeling the sunflower within you. Your soul is showing you now that those sunflowers, that field of sunflowers, are all of your creations. They're all the ways that you're sharing love with the world. Some of those are ways you shared it in the past. So I have, in part of my field of sunflowers, there's all the years that I was a 7th grade teacher. Right? There's that. So for you, you might see that sunflowers of other things you've done in the past. And then there's the sunflowers of the present moment and the sunflowers of the future, of what you are yet to create. And your soul is going to invite you to walk through this field of sunflowers. And there's little pathways, so you don't have to step on the sunflowers. They're not going to hit you over the face or anything. There's these little pathways throughout that field of sunflowers. And just let yourself walk through there now. It feels so beautiful and safe and radiant. As you walk through that field, you're getting activated, you're getting blessed. Your own soulful efficiency is being stimulated. And so as you walk through the field, follow the inner guidance. Don't overthink. In fact, don't even think about it. Just go wherever your steps lead. And as you do that, you're going to notice that you're led to one sunflower. Perhaps it's a little cluster of sunflowers. Just walk through the field and notice that eventually you're led to one specific area of this field of sunflowers. And once you're in that area, there's one sunflower that's just radiating. It's like it's not just like a sunflower, it's like radiating golden light and golden flecks. And you realize that this sunflower represents something that you are birthing. It might be something completely new. It might be a new version of something you've already done. Notice the sunflower, how beautiful and radiant. And as you stand in front of it, suddenly, instead of facing up towards the sun, it turns towards you. It turns towards your heart. And the sunflower is beaming into the sunflower at your heart. And so there's a heart connection between you and this beautiful sunflower. And she is infusing you with all of the efficiency, the synchronicity, the flow, the magic, the quantum leap steps, so that this won't be a linear journey of like, oh, you've got to take this step and 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 get so exhausted. Nope. This is going to be this magical journey where you take one step and suddenly all these doors open, and then you take the other step and suddenly all this synchronicity happens, and then you take this other step. So it's going to be this magical path, but just let yourself be infused by this beautiful sunflower. And then you're just going to ask it, beautiful sunflower that represents, right? This sunflower represents something new you are creating. Beautiful sunflower, show me, how do I best nurture myself as I birth this new creation? How do I best nurture myself as I birth this new creation? How do I best nurture myself? And so just write that down, or just take in the light. If you don't hear anything yet, that's okay. The answers are being infused in your heart. They will become clear at just the right time. And thank this beautiful sunflower as this sunflower thanks you. We walk out of the field, out of the field, out of the field. Look at that beautiful field of sunflowers. See how it's already blessing the earth so beautifully? Come back into your own sunflower within. Come back into your own body. Feel the blessing. So we bring the palms of our hands together, bow to each other and our own heart. Step out of this ceremony with the namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you. That was so beautiful. It felt so important to connect in that way with your creations. Remember that the guidance will continue. And that question was so important. I thought it was going to be like, what step do I take? But it was no, like, how do I nurture myself? So that's a really important question, right? Like, how do you best nurture yourself so you can tend to the sunflower garden? So I'm going to pull a card and then we will be done. If you want to share anything about what came to you during the meditation, please feel free to do that in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, do that in the comments. It's so lovely to read. So I'm just going to pull a card. Oh my gosh. All right, we got Father of the Sky, God. I release the weight of the world from my shoulders. Look at this warrior. What a perfect message as we close. I release the weight of the world from my shoulders, because that's what this is all about. Because it's so easy for us to go into that place of, it's such a programming, martyrdom, sacrifice, suffering. Oh, I've got to save everyone. No, release the weight. That's what it means. Our ascended masters, our soul, the divine, saying, we do the heavy lifting. You are the channel. That's how we contribute to co-creating this beautiful new earth. So I love that. I release the weight of the world from my shoulders. So look at that divine paradox. On the one hand, you are here to save the world. That is very true. All of us are, to co-create a new earth. And on the other hand, in that same breath is the message, and release the weight of the world from your shoulders. This isn't about being a martyr. This isn't about doing it by ourselves. This isn't about being a doormat or neglecting yourself. That is not sustainable leadership. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's such a delight to be with you. Oh, gosh. And I forgot to say, some of you have heard this already. I'm going to Ireland on Monday. Yay. And next Saturday, August 20th, be on the lookout. If you're not signed up for my mailing list, make sure you sign up, because we will be doing a YouTube live from Ireland on next Saturday. I am so excited. I will be co-facilitating it with my dear friend Zoe, who I'm visiting in Ireland, and another dear friend, mentor, Marguerite, who will be visiting as well. And it's going to be all about planetary healing, fairies, and all sorts of other amazing things. So would love for you to join me. All right. Bye, everyone. Talk to you soon.